Which one is record though? The red one. The red one.
Just before I begin, the clock is ticking, and I might have a chance to phone a friend. So if there's anyone down there that needs a seat, maybe some... I remember when Father Pat came to Killawalla the first day he came. Next was the Pat when I did that. And apparently she had an old banger of a car. She only used to take it out in that time to bring the kids to school. And she never got a tax on her insurance, so she said she'd chanted into Castlebear. And when she was heading out to Castlebear, there was a Gardaí stopping outside near Braithwaite. And you know, she got weak at the knees. I hope there's no Gardaí present now, because people do get weak at the knees when they meet Gardaí. So she thought of some idea to get out of this big shooting, because she knew she was going to be put down for it. And she told her daughter, who was in the back seat, she said, will you put your head out the back window and look back, and please don't laugh. So the Gardaí said stop, and he looked at the windscreen, and it was as blank as my double glazed window at home. Nothing on it. And he said, you know ma'am, he said, I see you have no tax or insurance on this vehicle. And she paused for a minute, and she went a bit like this, pretending that she was deaf. And the Gardaí started scratching his head. And he was wondering, what should he do? And then, you know, he took pity on her, like all good Gardaí, he took pity on her. And he said, and let you go all this time, ma'am, he said, make sure you tax and insure that car when you get an opportunity. And you know, she was delighted. She had never opened her mouth. And she was just about to pull off, and she said, thanks very much, dear. But that wasn't too bad. The story rolls on, she was tired, and she was walking with that little child again along the beach, and she went up and she sat down on a rock. And there was a man came over and he stood at her, sat down beside her, and there was no word spoken for a minute, and she didn't know what to say, and she was not. And then all of a sudden he opened up, and he said, tell me this man, did you get the talk back yet? So as I said, it's an eye to this club, the Paroidy Club, the FOSS group, Mother and Toddler group, and so on. And all these are instrumental in promoting and developing community spirit and good quality of life in Killawalla. Father Pat was not just a man for helping and encouraging those organisations. He was a marvellous social man as well. And on social occasions, he brought out the best in us all. He made us all feel very important, and he encouraged us to enjoy the social occasions as best we could. He was remembered for many of these social occasions down through the years for his contribution to them. But I think most of all are looking back at, you know, as we priests have come and gone here over the years, different priests will be remembered for different things. Some will be remembered for, you know, the water scheme, setting up water scheme. Some will be remembered for development of the cemetery. Some will be remembered for the church, development of the church. But I suppose Father Pat will be remembered for all of these and indeed much more. I know that's taking the stop on that now. I think that is the key to Father Pat's contribution to the Killawalla area. He certainly will be remembered for the way, I think, that he bid farewell to our loved ones and times of our bereavement. And he made those occasions very, very special indeed. So I think I've just gone past the first minute bell there now. It's down a little. We have no bell, so we burst balloons here. And I'm just going to ask the chairperson now of our community council and the kids to say a few words.
I'm afraid grown down I am anymore. My throat's down. Father Pat, family, dear friends. Tonight we are gathered here to honour our curate, Father Pat Donnellan, who on Friday, the 20th of July, will take up his new appointment as parish priest of Our Lady in Glen. It goes without saying, what is Our Lady's gain is our great loss. Father Donnellan came to live amongst us in August 1993, and one of his first tasks as chairman of the Board of Management of our local national school was to oversee the official opening of the new national school in Killawalla in June 1994. Since then, he has taken the spirit of the gospel message and made it alive and active within the Killawalla community. To quote himself, anything that raises the heart, lifts the spirit and builds community is essentially religious. The many groups, subcommittees that have been set up bear witness to this. We all have our own personal memories of his kindness to us, his listening ear in times of crisis in our lives. His ministry continues to be one of a life poured out in service. In conclusion, I would like to finish with an Irish blessing from a poem by John O'Donoghue. May the nourishment of the earth be yours, Father Pat. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so, may a slow wind work these words around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. Thank you.
So we continue on. We're not into the second half yet for all those football fans, but it's in the first quarter or so. So next part of the evening is the presentation. It's from the Sean Carter now is going to make a presentation here on behalf of the Killawalla Community Council to Father Pat.
One more. How are they doing?
And Michael now to make a presentation to Father Pat. Just to check I think it's in Irish pounds, not in euros. So Father Pat. So I'll continue again. There's a few more presentations. You know, we keep going, we might do the Sam McGuire here to present. So now the next in line for the presentation, I'll ask Anne Conway on behalf of the local pioneer group to make a presentation to Father Pat.
Okay, and John, it's very quite a few minutes now. It's a bit different where Father Pat is not there. So there's one small story I want to tell you. It's about a new parish street and went into a new parish. So when he went into the new parish, and he had a nice looking housekeeper around him. So I can't tell you all that. So when he was a month there anyway, the children was at the other end of the parish. So they decided to have him for lunch or dinner to leave. So the contract with the children, he said he'd come along. So he came along, and they had a meal and all that. The children was, suspicious. He was watching. He thought that the housekeeper might have an answer. But she was going around about church and she was very near the parish priest that she had come to the parish. So, lo and behold, 2 days afterwards, the housekeeper who had the dinner, she said, you know, Father, there's one of the spoons in the silverware had the house missing. And would that have taken it out? So I no, the parish priest said. So after 2 days, he said, you know, he should have to the church. And this is how he said. He said, I'm not saying you did. And I'm not saying you didn't. But by any chance would you have taken a spoon out of the set? So the children said, well, that's a funny sort of man out of thinking that I'd seen somebody out of the house before I finished. So after 2 or 3 days, the children said, well, I'm going to write that and I know what I'm saying he wrote to me. And I'm going to say to him. And the letter read, I'm not saying you did, and I'm not saying you didn't. But he said, if you were step in your own bed, you've got to step at home. So that's the story of it.
Parish priest that lives in his home. We'll move on to another presentation now, and I think it's on behalf of the Killawalla School Parents Association. Tony Malloy, is it? Yeah. Sorry, on behalf of the Board of Management, I should say now.
I just use this opportunity for us tonight to say a few words. And I'm just looking up here. My sense of colour isn't always hectic, but when somebody tell me, is that red or maroon? Now, if it was red, the petticoat would be lovely, a little bit of green put with it to present to the latest honorary citizen of Mayo. I'm glad to get a chance to come up here tonight and say a few words. Because on occasions like this, which occur in a few years, when a priest leaves the community or a priest leaves the parish, one's mind tends to dwell on the role of a priest, particularly in a rural community. Tending the sick, celebrating the sacraments, counselling the bereaved, visiting his flock, visiting the school, and taking care of the spiritual needs of his community. And earlier he referred to the gospel. I too like to refer to the gospel. As the gospel puts it, a priest is all things to all men, who draws out and draws upon the talents of his flock for the betterment of the community in general. Now, using this parameter, I think all here will agree with me in saying that Father Pat's tenure in Killawalla has been a very, very successful one. As the Gospel puts it, he has drawn out and drawn upon the talents of the people of Killawalla for the betterment of the community as a whole in Killawalla. He may not always have been at the chalk face of the local development, of community development, but he certainly was in the control room at all times. Many demands are met on a priest, met on the life of a priest, and it is not always very easy to fulfill these demands. And I'm sure Father Pat would agree with us in saying Killawalla has been no different in any other way in this. But the demands on a priest are usually matched by the understanding of his flock. And in life, it's the simple things, it's the small things that make the most impression. The warm handshake, the friendly smile, the helping hand, the loud laugh, the infectious humour, the generous welcome, the cup of tea in the pot. On that score, Father Pat has scored very, very high, and I think you'll all agree with me on that. It is the true living out of the gospel. On behalf of the school, I want to thank you most sincerely for your contribution to Skelmead Porrick these past 8 years. As chairman of the board, as pastor, as friend to teacher and pupil alike, your influence on the life of the school will be felt for many, many years after you have let go as parents. I'm going to need a moment for those. Working with you, Father Pat, in preparing the children for the sacraments brought a whole new meaning to faith. It brought a whole new meaning to Christianity. It brought a whole new meaning to the life of the Gospels. A true living, once again, of the Gospels. And coming to change can be difficult. Change can be extremely difficult. It can be difficult for the priest because of the fear of the challenges and the fears of what lie ahead. Change can also be difficult for the community because of the changeover from one priest to another. But as you set out on the road, the short journey down the road to Ireneedy, we wish you well and we congratulate you on your new appointment. Your predecessors in Ireneedy have been men of noble character who have left a huge impression and a lifelong influence on their communities. Men of the calibre of Fathers Colin Burke, Tony O'Toole, Thomas Cruise, to name but a few. But I have no doubt that your contribution will match theirs and exceed it. Martin, agus tuaig fágáil an baile beag álanse agana, bíon with of Freelat, as the Gahavinato and shot in our map, lay up from the news. Government briefs of Freelat for leading the gospel in our midst. Hamich Harabat Biki Mayala Marshin, Ganai Yada, and a Mohan Mahro, as Canadian Paula, Viva the Kunduyo, Karabina.
Not even on an occasion like this am I going to break my 500 rule. So if you don't listen, listen. I'm not given to repeating myself. So the thanking is done. And you're in church, you heard it, and it's from my heart. But I didn't say this past the 8 years, while it was wonderful in local church here in Chilwalla. If you think of the white church, it was the worst 8 years ever in the history of the Catholic Church. There are a small minority of priests who betrayed great trust and get woeful scandals in the 8 years that I was here. All that happened. I mention that purely because we were humbled, our fragility, our faults were exposed by a very small few that made us a humbler clergy. What I want to say is, never once did I feel that there was a child, a teenager, a middle-ager, and that you didn't trust your priest here. So for that trust and love, which I never doubted for those 8 years, thank you. Having an organised mind, I go on to number two. Number two, on a personal note, the last 8 years, while the hearty laugh and the smile is not evident most of the time, it is probably some of the saddest moments in my life also during my 8 years here, coping with maybe a little bit more stiffening of joints. And my mother had died just before I came here, and I asked her to do some mothering, and you did. Thank you very much. My father died not long after I came here. I was with some of you in Lourdes. And I must say the support I felt, and you know, the way that you were sensitive to the fact that the priest is human too, that he sheds tears, that he hurts, you know, when you lose family. So for being sensitive to that, and I appreciate all the compliments about being with you in this sad time, but for supporting me in the little sad moments in my life as well. Thank you very, very much. Second last thing I'll do is, it's amazing the things you remember, and I see all sorts of faces here of beautiful girls and beautiful young men, and elderly and young, and all sorts of age. And you know, 8 years ago, everybody looked a bit different. So myself, everybody looked. Well, I remember Mr. O'Mahony, he got his class at the time to write an essay 8 years ago, Our New Priest. And he showed me a few of them, and I'll give you a sentence or two from one that I remember. I could call who wrote it, but I won't. It said, Our new priest is cool. He wears ginens. He has long, curly hair. He makes us laugh, and he's really nice. Well, I'm afraid I don't have the Dylans. I don't have the long curly hair. You're not really cool at 50. We had our laughs, but I hope that I was really nice. And then my parents will continue to dress easily if I was, because that's what they would wish. And for the times that you were so nice to me, thank you. And for your kindness tonight, and for all this generosity, and I'm going to go through it, but it makes the going a little easier to know that you are loved so much. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And lastly, as I don't like officiating of your own funeral, as I mentioned in the church earlier, we have to keep everything in perspective. There's nobody dead, life goes on. I want to sing you this anthem from Pirates of Penzance, from the Pirates of because you see, this anthem that Father Shannon wrote for me is going to be gone out again awful quick. And it's like a responsorial psalm. It's a short verse. There's a hip hip at the end of it, and I want to hear a beat. You got it? I am an OCC. I am hurrah for the OCC, and it is an inglorious thing to be an OCC. But I am an UPP, I am hurrah for the UPP, and it is a glorious thing to be an UPP. It is hurrah for the UPP, and hurrah for the old CCP.
And And, you know, as I look around me here and see so many members of the Donnellan family who have come here this evening, it reflects one thing. I think the great love and esteem that which Father Pat has held in his own family. And I want to reassure those Donnellan family, the members who have come here tonight, that same love and affection he has also held among you, the people of Kilowatt Church area. There's so many people we'd like to thank. I think the first one I would like to thank is the ladies down there who turned up, who prepared such a beautiful refreshments, the tea, the scones, the cakes and so on. I think we're going to do on. Secondly, I'd like to thank members of the Kilowatt Community Council for organising this presentation, and you, the people, for your generosity, without which it wouldn't be possible. And I want to thank all of you for that, quite especially. As Father Pat said in his recently composed song, Hooray for the OCC, Kilowatt has been noted to have Galway priest over the last number of years. But on one occasion, there was a Mayo priest who went to Galway many years ago, and that time a number of his parishioners went with him, with cars and trailers, bringing his equipment and his furniture and so on. So they ended up in Galway with his furniture, and they arranged in his new house. So once they had parachutes in Galway, and the priest said to them, "Well done," he said to him. He said, "I think I'll take you down to the local pub for a drink." And the local publican, it's a quiet little pub, doing very little during the day, and we seen these 30 fellas, strangers arriving in, that he was clapping his hands with delight. And, here there's a drink order for the 30 that I think with them or so. And the publican called over one of the Mayo lads after about 10 minutes, and he said to him, he said, "That must be an awful popular priest you had down there." And the man waited for a minute, and he said, "You'll be a very popular man." He said, "You'll treat us in the next half an hour like that man has treated us for the last 8 years." So the publican indeed was very happy. So I wanted you to say again, briefly, a sincere thanks to everyone involved in the organising and staging of this presentation. And finally, I want to say, on your behalf, a very special thank you to Father Pat for what he has done for us. So much has been spoken here tonight to pay tribute to Father Pat, but he has done so much for us. I think he has given us new hope in ourselves. He has rekindled a brighter community spirit, memories of which I think will live on forever and ever, I think. So with that, on your behalf again, I can say, Father Pat, we'll miss you. We'll miss you as your priest, as a friend, as a neighbour. But we do wish you well in Island Lady. And as Anne said earlier on, Kilowatt is lost, I think, as Island Lady's game. And we certainly will be monitoring your progress in Island Lady over the next 8, 10, or whatever number of years you're there. So we want to certainly pay our highest respect and tribute to you as you leave this evening or at this function. So that's it, I think. We're down into Sean Carter says he's not singing his job as a fellow there now, but I think he's waiting for the photo. So there's enough singing. So again, just finally, thank you to everyone. Good night. Stay home, and thanks for everyone.